Chapter 92. The Master's Secret Crash. The shattering sound of glass resounded. The cup in Ling Dong's hand crashed onto the floor. It was as if he was struck by lightning as he stared at the two people opposite, flabbergasted. You are, if he and Yi Wanwan together were a contrasting and unexpected pair, then the image of this person kissing Yi Wanwan was really something straight out of a sci-fi movie. It was simply too shocking. You're Yi Wanwan's boyfriend. Ling Dong took a long time to find his voice. Even he could never kiss Yi Wanwan with that makeup, much less Si Xia, who was finding all kinds of excuses to get out of it, but this man actually. He thought about what Yi Wanwan said before, that she dolled up like that because her boyfriend liked her this way. What Yi Wanwan said was true. The man's indifferent eyes barely looked at Ling Dong before he carried the girl and left the empty restaurant. From beginning till the end, Yi Wanwan obediently remained locked in the man's embrace. Perhaps she was feeling a little sluggish since she just woke up, or maybe Si Yihan's normally scary aura was absent. But being so close to Si Yihan wasn't as repulsive as she'd imagined. Between each breath, she could smell a light aroma of fruit trees. It was different from the usual cold vibe from Si Yihan, but it smelled pretty good. It might have been her illusion, but this man was clearly still in the same old black outfit tonight, yet it gave her a very grand and formal vibe. He never wore cologne, but he did today. His subtle, luxurious, antique black cufflinks, his metallic tie clip and his suit's design looked similar to his other suits, but after looking closely at the design, it appeared to be brand new. The scariest thing was that this guy was too handsome tonight. She was blinded by Si Yihan, even though she was so used to seeing that face of his. Recalling Ling Dong's face now, she couldn't help but find it hilarious. This poor child's 3 values would probably be shattered into pieces tonight. Su Yi stood by the restaurant door and saw everything that happened inside, and he saw that the boy was still standing there in a daze. Su Yi wiped his sweat and couldn't help but criticize his master silently. Master, must you go that far? At this moment, Yi Wanwan had the same thought as well. Using Si Yihan to fight a suitor of Ling Dong's rank was no different from using an ultimate boss to kill a beginner. Please, put me down, said Yi Wanwan, after seeing that Si Yihan was still carrying her, seemingly without the intention of putting her down. The man paused and the atmosphere became chilly in an instant. A moment later, he let her down. Yi Wanwan jumped onto the ground, lifted her little head to look at the man in front of her, and said eagerly, "Can you carry me on your back?" The man looked surprised after he heard that and immediately bent forward in front of her slowly. Yi Wanwan immediately climbed up onto the man's back, hugged his neck with both hands and yawned lazily. This feels much better. Su Yi watched how the both of them interacted and his heart was like a roller coaster, going up and down. He suddenly realized that whenever Yi Wanwan initiated intimacy, his violent and terrifying master became unbelievably docile. On the silent and empty road, the man carried the girl as he walked back to school slowly. Feeling her little head nodding on his back, the man asked, "Tired?" Yi Wanwan nuzzled her head on his shoulders and nodded. "Yeah? Did something urgent happen to you today? Was it important?" "It's fine." Yi Wanwan wasn't fully convinced. "Really? But on the phone just now, housekeeper Su sounded like he was about to cry." She shot a suspicious look over to Su Yi as she spoke. Su Yi's back stiffened and quickly waved his hands. "Oh, Ms. Yi, it's really nothing, it has all been settled." Even if you beat him to death, he would never dare to reveal that his elegant and aloof master went through outfit changes for 3 hours, tortured over 10 stylists and made every servant in the house cry before leaving the house. Chapter 93. My handsome boyfriend. Hearing what Su Yi said, Yi Wanwan didn't probe any further but grumbled, "Luckily you arrived in time. Otherwise, I would have become someone else's girlfriend. Ling Dong and I made a bet. If he found out everything was a lie and my boyfriend didn't show up, I would agree to be his girlfriend." The chill beneath Si Yihan's eyes had yet to spread before the girl continued in her victorious and chirpy voice. "Since you promised you'd come, I knew you'd definitely appear, so I made a bet with him without thinking too much about it. Going by Ling Dong's reaction just now, he'll definitely give up this time. After all, my boyfriend is so handsome. You'd beat him in a beauty contest in a second even if you wore a sack." Listening to the girl gloating, The iciness beneath Si Han's eyes immediately melted. It was obvious that Yi Wanwan's sucking up did the trick. Su Yi's face was covered with tears as he listened. Even if he wore a sack? My lady, if you said so earlier, then people like us wouldn't have to go through such torture tonight. He finally understood that 10,000 compliments from all of them couldn't compare to a single compliment of handsome from this girl. The restaurant wasn't far from school and they arrived at their destination shortly after. Yi Wanwan jumped off the man's back. I'm here. The man turned and looked at the girl in front of him, his expression becoming cold again. Yi Wanwan felt that his mood was really like the weather in March, overcast and unpredictable. At the same time, in a little flower bed not far from where Yi Wanwan and Si Han were, stood two students, a boy and a girl. The girl looked sweet and cute, dressed in a short pink skirt and had a delicately wrapped paper box in her hand. She stood timidly in front of the boy. See? Sisya? I like you. I made these chocolates myself. I hope you like them. The boy standing opposite was dressed in oversized pajamas like he had come from his dorm just before bed. But this didn't seem to ruin his charm at all, but instead, it made him look even more casual and informal than usual, making the girl's heart flutter. At that moment, the boy whose face could charm all the girls looked disinterested and unconcerned, with a flash of impatience and annoyance. I don't have a sweet tooth. The girl's face turned pale. She acted like she didn't mind and spoke pleadingly, right? Then I'll make something else next time, and I don't like you. After the boy was done talking, he turned and left immediately without a care for the girl. Just as he was walking towards the dorm, the boy suddenly heard a familiar voice in the quiet air. I'm here. Si Xia paused and turned towards the direction of that voice subconsciously. Yi Wanwan? The boy furrowed his brows and hid in the shadows. He looked through the gaps between the branches and saw that under the nearby streetlights, Yi Wanwan was standing there talking to a man. The man had his back to him and he could only see a faint figure, but with just one look, Si Xia's face changed. Si Han. How could it be? Si Xia's face was filled with fear and uncertainty. He continued watching and saw that Yi Wanwan went up on her tiptoes and lightly kissed the man on his cheek. Good night. She then left while turning and waving to the man. At that moment, the slender and cold figure turned and the man stretched his arms out to grab the girl who hadn't managed to go far. He brought her into his embrace with one move, bent his body and gave one last, passionate kiss. As Si Xia looked at the man's face, he was dumbstruck and stood rooted to the ground. Chapter 94. Yi Wanwan and Si Han? When he saw his egotistical and cold ninth uncle bending over to kiss Yi Wanwan's nightmarish face, Si Xia trembled and an explosion resounded in his head. What's going on here? Yi Wanwan and Si Han? These two were from completely different planets, different spaces and different levels, but at this moment, they actually appeared together. Not to mention in this kind of terrible relationship. Could it be that the boyfriend Yi Wanwan keeps talking about is? Si Xia steadied himself and looked under the streetlights again. He could only see that the man was turning away while Yi Wanwan walked in the direction of the girls' dormitory. Si Xia stared at Yi Wanwan's back and stood in the dark for a long time. Then his phone rang with a text message. He peeked at his phone and walked towards the boys' dormitory. Just as he reached the first level of the dormitory, he saw Cheng Shui standing there. Although it was already very late, Cheng Shui was still dressed neatly. She wore a beautiful dress without a single wrinkle. If you looked closely enough, you could see that she also had on exquisite, yet natural makeup. Why have you been outside? Cheng Shui looked in the direction that Si Xia appeared from, as darkness flashed beneath her eyes. It seemed like the news was right. Some shameless girl was trying to seduce him in the middle of the night. Is anything the matter? Si Xia's tone was much more pleasant when he spoke to Cheng Shui than when he spoke to that other girl earlier. Can I just drop by? Lately, you've always been busy with that ugly freaky Wanwan, and there are always girls harassing you during the day. I don't have any chances to talk to you. Cheng Shui was unhappy and grumbled with a bit of playfulness. If nothing's the matter, then we'll talk tomorrow. I have something to do now. Si Xia spoke as he entered the dormitory staircase. Cheng Shui was flustered by that. It's so late already, what do you have to do? Was that Han Xiaoru with you just now? Yeah, Xia didn't deny it. Cheng Shui clenched her fist tightly. What did she want? Xia, to give me chocolates? Han Xiaoru, that girl. Cheng Shui gritted her teeth right after hearing that, but seeing that Xia was empty-handed, it was obvious that he didn't accept them, and then she was happy once more. The girls in this school are so annoying to harass you every day. She actually gave you chocolates, but doesn't she know that you're allergic to cocoa powder? She then took out a bag and gave it to him. This is your favorite almond cake. You can have it for breakfast tomorrow. Thanks. Xia accepted the gift. Seeing that Xia accepted her cake, Cheng Shui's gloomy mood immediately disappeared. She stared at that dazzling face and said shyly, "You don't have to be so polite with me. I can make it for you next time if you like it." Auntie C said that my baking skills are getting better. I knew that he sees me differently from all those other girls. Tiske, I can't believe all these wildflowers and weeds in school are actually trying to snatch my man. I won't keep you then. Have an early night after you're done with your work. Knowing that he no longer had any business with Han Xiaoru, Cheng Shui was relieved. With her crazily pounding heart, she ran off excitedly. However, the girl didn't know that once she left, the polite, courteous expression of the boy immediately disappeared, revealing an indifferent expression that completely contrasted with the usual perfect image he had in front of her. It even had a hint of disgust and contempt. The boy walked a few steps ahead leisurely and casually threw the delicately wrapped cake into the garbage can next to him. After he entered, the boy didn't go to his own dorm. Instead, he went upstairs to see Ling Dong. Chapter 95. So handsome he could turn me gay. Who is it? A boy in his undershirt and oversized boxers pulled open the door with a sleepy face. After he saw that the person at the door was Xia, he was stunned for a moment. Oh, Xia, even though it was very common in the boys' dormitory for guys to drop by, standing in front of him was the dream boy of every girl in school and the common enemy of every boy. Furthermore, like the school's goddess, Cheng Shui, he was clearly not from a simple family. He was from a completely different world from nobodies like them. Besides, Xia always kept to himself. He didn't usually hang out with them, not to mention dropping by in the middle of the night. So seeing him here at this late hour, the boy was inevitably surprised. Do you need something? I'm looking for Ling Dong, Xia replied. Oh, you're looking for Dong Thuan. He just came back, it's just that. The boy scratched his head, looking rather vexed. You're here at a bad time. Dongji isn't really in a good state right now. Not in a good state? Come in, you'll understand once you see it for yourself. The boy sighed and opened the door. Just as Xia stepped inside, a pungent smell of alcohol overwhelmed him. After Xia entered, the boy quickly closed the door, afraid that the smell of alcohol would escape and expose them to the dorm inspector. He saw that Ling Dong was sitting on the floor like a puddle of mud, seemingly completely drunk beyond his senses and mumbling Yi Wanwan's name. Why do you treat me like that? Why didn't I find out sooner? With just one look at his condition, anyone with a discerning eye would know immediately that he was heartbroken. What happened? Xia glanced at the three boys in the dorm. The three boys looked at one another. The boy who just opened the door stepped closer and said mysteriously, Dongju went to meet Yi Wanwan's boyfriend this evening. Yi Wanwan actually has a boyfriend. Can you believe it? Really? Xia's eyes glistened slightly. That's right. At first, we all thought that Yi Wanwan was lying about having a boyfriend in order to turn Dongji off. She even said that her boyfriend was extremely good-looking, bragging non-stop. Who would believe her? But who could have guessed that when Dongji went, he actually got to meet the guy? More than just meet. According to Dongji, that man was so handsome he could shatter the skies, and compared to you, Xia, he was. The boy sighed and stopped. Oh, better looking than me, right? Xia spoke softly. The boy rubbed his nose and answered awkwardly, anyway, that was what Dongji said. We all suspected that he's drunk. Otherwise, how could he have said such nonsense? How could there be any good-looking and blind man in this world that would fall in love with Yi Wanwan? Exactly, so what if Yi Wanwan has a boyfriend? Dongji still has a chance to win her over, right? While the boys were conversing, Ling Dong, who was drunk in the corner, waved his beer bottle and shouted in anger, Damn it. So handsome he could turn me gay. As if I could fight him, the three boys on the side. What the hell do you mean that he was so handsome he could turn you gay? Dongji, calm down a little, Dongji. Si Xia glanced at Ling Dong and after a few moments, he walked over to him and squatted down. Then, he passed his phone to him. Was it him you saw this evening? Ling Dong looked at Si Xia's phone in a daze. In the next second, his drunkard expression suddenly sobered up and he sat up quivering suddenly. Why would you have a picture of Yi Wanwan's boyfriend? Hearing that, Si Xia closed both his eyes immediately and beneath his eyes was a significant darkness. Zihan. It was really him. That woman in Jean Garden actually was Yi Wanwan, his classmate from the same school and class, right under his nose. Chapter 96. I can teach you. As Si Xia took his seat, the girls jabbered away. Zhao Xingzhou's face suddenly became stern and said, all right, calm down everybody. Why aren't you guys so excited to see me? Teacher, you're not handsome, some girls retorted immediately. Hey, what did you just say? Please repeat yourself, loud and clear. There was an obvious threat in Zhao Xingzhou's voice. Teacher, you're the most handsome. The girl shouted in fear. Very good. Continue with the questions then. After messing around for a while, everybody continued with the questions, but it was very obvious that all the bewitched girls were not fully focused on their studies anymore. After Si Xia sat down, he glanced through the practice questions once and did not bother with them any further. He laid his head down and started sleeping as usual. Yi Wanwan was filled with jealousy. Far from handing in blank exam papers like her, this chap knew how to do every question. Compared to how she had to memorize sample answers and scoring well out of sheer luck on her last test, Si Xia always got perfect marks for math, aside from the times when he purposely skipped exams. In her eyes, this kind of person was a total anomaly. Certainly, there must be no normal human in the Si family. Yi Wanwan was bitterly doing her work while cursing under her breath when she suddenly felt a weight on her shoulder and fresh clean scent wafted into her nose. Yi Wanwan turned her head stiffly to look and realized that Si Xia had slumped over in his sleep and was now leaning on her shoulder. At that moment, there was an uproar in class. The girls who had fixed their attention on Si Xia this whole time dropped their jaws. Cheng Shui's glare was murderous. Damn. Si Xia actually leaned against her shoulder. Yiwan, this slut. Nobody stop me, I'm going to break that ugly freak's claws. As Yi Wanwan faced the murderous stares from all the girls in the class, she hurriedly tried to reposition the sleeping beauty on her shoulder carefully. Oh my God, save me. How is this my fault? I'm a victim too, right? But if she really said those words out loud, she might be beaten to death, so she could only swallow her words down. Thankfully, when she was halfway through moving him, Si Xia awoke. That sleepy face and lazy eyes are simply too dreamy. After looking at Si Yihan's face for so many years, she thought she was already immune to his beauty, yet she was still electrified by just a glance. Although Si Xia really couldn't compare to Si Yihan, they were entirely different species. Si Yihan was dangerous and mysterious, egotistical and arrogant, while at the moment, Si Xia was the kind of king who could charm thousands of girls. After Si Xia woke up, he rubbed his forehead lazily and glanced at Yi Wanwan's question booklet. This question, Yi Wanwan looked over, surprised. What? You got this question wrong, and this is wrong too. Watching Si Xia picking out numerous questions, Yi Wanwan's brows twitched and she took a deep breath. Just tell me which questions I got right. Si Xia's fair and slender fingers pointed at two of the questions. You got 2 multiple choice questions right. These 2 questions were wild guesses. Yi Wanwan was so sad that she wanted to bang her head on the desk. I thought my math wasn't that bad. I can teach you, Si Xia smiled. Chapter 97. Do you miss me? Hearing that, Yi Wanwan shuddered as she finally realized what was different about Si Xia today. Usually, he would be lying on the desk asleep and wouldn't even look at her the whole day. But today, he actually took the initiative to talk with her and even offered to teach her math. Cough, no thanks, I don't want to die a humiliating death. By the way, where did you go today? Why'd you only come to last period? All the girls were going crazy from missing you. Most importantly, everyone blamed me for his absence. Yi Wanwan thought out loud, if Xia really didn't come because of me, then I should just ask the teacher to change seats. I can't change my role in the play, but at the very least I want to try to change seats. Really? Xia asked softly. Yes. Yi Wanwan nodded, then took the opportunity to ask, you didn't come today, was it because… Then, before Yi Wanwan could finish, Xia interrupted her and asked, what about you? What about me? Yi Wanwan didn't understand what Xia was trying to get at. Xia looked at her shyly and said, did you miss me? Yi Wanwan was completely dumbfounded. Damn. What game is he trying to play? Yi Wanwan's body was covered in goosebumps, and as she stared back in shock, her whole face in terror, she asked, do you have a fever? All right, everybody please stop. I'm going to take up the questions now. If you had any trouble with the questions, listen up and pay attention. Zhao Xingzhou's words cut through the strange atmosphere. Yi Wanwan clutched her chest, her whole face frightened and uncertain while still thinking about those words that scared her half to death. Is this guy just teasing me? By the end of the class, the girls were glaring at her so hard she thought they would burn a hole in her body. Although they couldn't hear what Xia and she were talking about, they were fully aware that today Xia not only leaned on her shoulder but he even spoke to her for the first time. No matter the topic, it was enough to make people want to beat up and drown Yi Wanwan. All the girls in school had a consensus that Xia belonged to all of them and nobody was allowed to fight for him. If this unspoken rule was broken, the offender would become a public enemy. Even if a girl wanted to break the rule, she would only dare to confess her love to Xia secretly, lest she faces the wrath of the others. If she was found out, she wouldn't be able to come to school anymore. On the surface, it looked like Yi Wanwan had actually dared to seduce Xia in front of everyone and thus attracted quite a lot of hatred. Of course, the reality was that Xia had leaned against her accidentally, and it was also Xia who initiated the conversation, but nobody cared about these facts. The person who was in the wrong was obviously Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan initially thought that this would all be over after school. Who knew that Xia, who had missed rehearsals consecutively for so many days, would actually show up today? At rehearsal, Yi Wanwan rehearsed distractedly with her brows furrowed. She began to have a strange, ominous premonition. Xia sat against the window and as usual, he was surrounded by a group of girls making a big fuss over him. Xia, that ugly freak is getting more and more out of hand. She even harassed you in class. Don't worry, Xia, we've already submitted a petition demanding to switch Yi Wanwan out. Miss Liang will definitely meet our demands. Actually, you didn't have to come today. Miss Liang will announce her decision tomorrow. That's right, why don't you go back and have a good rest? You must be nauseous after that math class. While the girls bombarded Xia, the other students preceding him had finished rehearsing and it was now his turn. The class monitor walked up to Xia and asked weakly, Xia, it's your turn, do you want to rehearse today? With everyone's attention, Xia slowly stood up from his seat and glanced at the stage. Of course. Chapter 98. A kiss from the hunk. Yi Wanwan had initially thought that Xia wasn't coming to rehearsal today, so she had applied purple lipstick. Seeing Xia walking over, she asked subconsciously, do you want me to change the color? She remembered how Xia couldn't stand this color. Xia glanced at her and an unusual warmth flashed across his eyes. No need, it's nice. Yi Wanwan? What? Nice? Could someone save me from this guy? Yi Wanwan was so shaken up that she started to touch up her makeup to calm her nerves, but her eyeliner came out crooked as her hands shook and she even smudged her lipstick. Xia glanced at Yi Wanwan's face and a fleeting smile appeared on his gentle face, but in the next moment he took a deep breath and said, let's start rehearsing. Since Xia himself wanted to rehearse, the flock of girls surrounding him were powerless to do anything and could only sit and watch unwillingly. The rehearsal of the final act, Meet the Prince, began. After Snow White was poisoned, a prince rode his white horse through the forest, lost his way and found a little wooden house by some strange coincidence. There, he saw 7 little dwarves mourning for Princess Snow White. Si Xia slowly walked towards the table where Yi Wanwan lay and gazed at the girl's face with his glass-like eyes filled with deep emotion and sadness. All the people watching were full of admiration. But the hunk's acting skills today are off the charts. Yi Wanwan's role in this scene of the play tested everybody to the max. The girls had to imagine this ugly freak as the world's most beautiful princess Snow White. After this, the most disturbing scene was about to begin. The prince giving a kiss of true love to wake up the sleeping Snow White. Si Xia stroked the girl's hair lightly. With one arm propped beside her, he then slowly bent his body down. His motions made all the girls blush. With hearts pounding, they each wanted to rush up on stage to lay down in Yi Wanwan's place. Oh, I'm so mad. I really want to be kissed by the hunk as well. The hunk's too nice and gentle, yet he still forced himself to rehearse this scene. But someone is taking advantage of his gentleness. Shame on her. Everybody gritted their teeth. With aching hearts, they collectively prepared a bottle of mineral water and garbage bin for Si Xia. Meanwhile, as Si Xia stroked the girl's hair lightly, he accidentally brushed her neck and his fingers suddenly stiffened up. Yi Wanwan's skin was as fair as goat's milk. One word immediately surfaced in his mind when he touched it: delicate. Si Xia was a little taken aback and retracted his fingers quickly like he had just gotten burnt while the ends of his ears started reddening. He immediately calmed himself down, bent down again and edged closer to the girl bit by bit. Cheng Shui, who was watching, suddenly stood up and shouted, "What is going on?" All the other girls were stunned as well. Why didn't Si Xia run away as usual when he got this close? This time, he's actually leaning closer and closer. Everybody watched as the distance between the two of them shrank. Even if they were just getting in position, they didn't have to be that close. Damn, what is going on? Could it be that Si Xia really wants to do it for real? Even the distracted Ling Dong, who was watching from the corner of the room, suddenly changed his expression when he realized what was happening. Although Yi Wanwan had closed her eyes, she could feel Si Xia's breath. When she felt that something wasn't quite right, she quickly opened her eyes. In the next second, Si Xia's face loomed directly in front of her. After Si Xia had presented his views, Liang Lihua was unhappy but couldn't protest any further. If you insist, I won't object, but if there's a problem, actually, she considered Yi Wanwan to be a secondary problem. Her biggest issue lay with Si Xia. She thought Si Xia resented that Yi Wanwan was playing Snow White, so she took his concerns seriously. But who knew that Si Xia's attitude was completely different from what the other students had said? This guy wasn't someone a nobody like her could afford to offend. The others may not have known Si Xia's background, but she was well informed and knew that he wasn't just from an ordinary wealthy family. If not for her lover confiding in her, she would never have imagined that Si Xia had such powerful backing. Chapter 100. Sacrificing my image without hesitation, I was the one who drew the lot for Snow White. I'll take full responsibility, Si Xia said. There was silence throughout the entire hall. Everyone was shocked by this unexpected development. Since Si Xia's spoken, we'll leave this for now. You can come talk to me if there are any more problems. Who cares about the petition? In the end, Liang Lihua naturally placed the most importance on Si Xia's opinion, thus she left, satisfied that Si Xia was content. After Liang Lihua left, Cheng Shui rushed to Si Xia and shouted at him furiously, "Si Xia, why are you speaking up for that ugly freak?" Si Xia didn't respond. He might not have even heard what Cheng Shui said. At that moment, his attention and gaze were fixated on Yi Wanwan. The focus in that gaze gave him a gentle and attached expression, an appearance of years and years of waiting. His gaze completely lit up the rage in Cheng Shui. She turned and stomped towards Yi Wanwan and raised her hand in anger. "Yi Wanwan, you shameless slut, what have you done to Si Xia?" Without waiting for Yi Wanwan's reaction, suddenly, a figure swiftly flashed before her eyes. After that came the resounding sound of a slap. Cheng Shui's slap didn't land on her face but on Si Xia's. Due to the height difference, Cheng Shui's slap landed on the area near Si Xia's chin. Her sharp nails left a striking bloody mark on his fair skin immediately. Cheng Shui realized that she had slapped Si Xia by accident and was stunned. "Si Xia, I didn't do it on purpose. Sorry. A trace of murderous intentions flashed beneath Si Xia's glacial eyes. Take back what you just said. If there's a next time, don't come crying to me. Yi Wanwan was in despair. What grudge does this guy have for me? Within a few short seconds, he's directed tons of hate towards me. The girl's resentment has turned into something physical. However, that wasn't enough. When Si Xia turned to her, his cold gaze suddenly melted and even had a trace of caution and flattery. Are you all right? Are you scared? Yi Wanwan, yes. I'm scared. I was almost scared to death by you, big brother. Who can explain what just happened? Even if she was slow, she could tell that Si Xia had been teasing her on purpose the whole day. But she couldn't imagine how she had offended him that made him so vindictive. Cheng Shui stared at her ferociously, then cried and ran away. Everyone else in the hall also left, one after another, in fright and uncertainty. When only Yi Wanwan and Si Xia were left, Yi Wanwan couldn't help but ask, "Could you tell me, most respected hunk, your highness, where have I offended you? Was it because I said that my boyfriend was better looking than you, so you have a grudge against me? You didn't hesitate to give up your image over this. Isn't that too big of a sacrifice?" Image. Si Xia slowly stroked his own face that was slightly red because of the slap. This face, you like it? I feel honored. Yi Wanwan. This guy's reaction was too weird. As she stood there speechless, she saw him walking towards her. Yi Wanwan took a step back subconsciously, but he went down on his knees in front of her all of a sudden. In a kneeling position, he reached out his hand and helped her tie her shoelace that was accidentally untied. Chapter 101. I'll reject him only when heaven and earth collide. Yi Wanwan moved back and withdrew her feet. She saw that the loosened shoelace had already been tied into a beautiful bow by the boy's long fingers. Don't be scared, I don't have any ill intentions towards you, it's just that. Si Xia stopped. Yi Wanwan shot a suspicious glance over. Just what? Just that? I want to stay by your side. Yi Wanwan. Why the sudden change when everything was fine before, boy? If she didn't have any hearing issues, was what Si Xia said a confession in disguise? Yi Wanwan stood still amidst the confusion, and a song surfaced in her mind. At the place where the peach blossom bloomed. What's wrong with the world I've been reborn into? If her life before her rebirth was difficult, her life after rebirth had been upgraded to hell mode. What she was afraid of had actually happened. Suitor after suitor pursued her, and each one was worse than the last. The boy in front of her could be an epic boss. Could it be that Si Xia also saw my real face like Ling Dong? This face of mine is truly my greatest source of misfortune. However, she was sure to be careful these days. She hadn't revealed her face without makeup anywhere outside the dorms. Furthermore, Si Xia was different from Ling Dong. With his high status and potential, he wouldn't have a sudden change in heart just because of that. Aside from that, Yi Wanwan suddenly thought of another possibility. Although she didn't know much about Si Xia in her previous life, she knew that his relationship with Si Han was not as peaceful as it seemed on the surface. She even heard a very strange piece of gossip. It was said that Si Xia would snatch any woman who got slightly close to Si Han. Could it be that Si Xia found out about her relationship with Si Han and wanted to play some game by snatching his nemesis girlfriend away? She thought carefully. Si Han came to school last night, and immediately, Si Xia's attitude towards her changed the next day. If it was true, how much does this guy hate Si Han that he could hit on even me? Yi Wanwan said sincerely, Si Xia, no matter what your intentions are, you don't have to be so hard on yourself, okay? Please take a good look at my face, then think it through carefully. Let me tell you, this is how I look even with makeup. Once my makeup is removed, it would shock you to your core. Si Xia stared at her face. The corners of his mouth twitched, and then he took a deep breath with a look of determination. His face recovered its warmth and he said, "No problem, it'll be fine after I get used to it." Yi Wanwan wanted to break down. Her head hurt so much that she rubbed her eyebrows and said seriously, emphasizing each and every word clearly, "My relationship with my boyfriend is stronger than gold and our love is rock solid. Only until the mountains become flat, until all the rivers are drained, until there's thunder in winter, until there's snow in summer, and until heaven and earth collide, Will I reject him? So, you should just give up. Aside from her, with his background and looks, skills and acting abilities, there was probably no girl that could resist him. But right now, she was afraid that if he was disappointed, her life would be in danger and she would not joke around with her own life. After speaking, she left immediately without waiting for Xia to respond. Most importantly, she had to keep her distance. After she was quite a distance away, Yi Wanwan heaved a sigh of relief. Who knew that when she raised her head, she would see someone she didn't want to see even more than Xia. Shen Mengqi hurriedly rushed towards her with a hasty expression. Wanwan, I finally found you. What's the matter? Shen Mengqi said in a surprised tone. Don't you know? Hurry and take a look at the school's forum. The news about you and Xia has gone around. Chapter 102, Twisting the Facts. Before, when Xia helped her dodge the slap from Qing Shui, she already had a bad premonition, but she never thought that news of it would spread so quickly. Yi Wanwan opened the forum to take a look. She immediately saw on the first page was a very popular topic. The story of the ugliest girl in Qinghe and Qinghe's hunk that must be told. Ugly Girl and School Hunk. This sensational title would attract many clicks with just one look. The post started from the time she scored first in the class for exams and described in detail how she got close to Xia, step by step. Apparently, she scored last in class on purpose to get close to Xia, then cheated on the exams to score first in class to continue sticking with Xia. Then, she cheated in the draw in her futile attempt to get the role of Snow White and get even closer to Xia, and deliberately gave him hugs in class and harassed him non-stop. The whole article was illogical and humiliated her just for the sake of it. With regards to her results, all the teachers were present and Liang Lihua admitted that her results were genuine. As for the drawing of lots, she didn't even have any chance to touch the box. How could she have cheated? If she really harassed Xia, why did Xia speak up for her in the hall when Liang Lihua wanted to switch roles for the play? But all these didn't matter. Nobody would go to the trouble of finding out the truth. Everyone was like the flesh-eating vultures pouncing on her to tear her apart. It was just her luck as an ugly freak to become close to their dream boy and have him speak up for her. To them, it was a heinous sin. Love the winter nights. I am a student from F class. I saw it myself. That ugly freak rubbed against Xia's body on purpose during class. Disgusting. Crayon without Shin-chan. Oh my god, really? That's gross. As the saying goes, ugly people always make more trouble. She should take a good look at herself in the mirror. How dare she actually go after Xia? Left hand reversed image. Our dream boy has a good temper and wasn't cautious with her. He even took it upon himself to kiss her. Damn, who could kiss her with that face of hers? If it were me, I'd have puked out last night's dinner. Sprinkling Z to empty some avoided memories. Wasn't she asked to leave school before? She still hasn't left. I really underestimated this ugly freak's tricks. Love the winter nights. TSK's K. If she didn't have any tactics, could she toy with the big shot of Qinghe? This kind of person should be kicked out of Qinghe. Timeless. Kick Yi Wanwan out of Qinghe. At the end of the post, the incident with Ling Dong was also mentioned. She was called a two-timer. She knew all these were lies, yet she didn't feel like she could explain herself. How could she explain to them? Tell them that it was one-sided and Ling Dong and Xia were interested in her. If she tried that, she was afraid she'd be spit on to death. Wanwan, are you all right? All these people are too much. How could they say these things about you? Shen Mengqi said indignantly. She couldn't understand why Yi Wanwan still seemed alive and well up till this point. All those messages that she sent to Si Han previously had been marked as read, meaning that he had obviously read them. But not only was she living well, she had seduced Ling Dong, and even Xia's attitude towards her was becoming warmer. Seeing Shen Mengqi's concerned face, Yi Wanwan smiled faintly and the corners of her mouth curled upwards. The creator of this thread, Love the Winter Nights, leaping and jumping all over to insult her was Shen Mengqi. Love the Winter Nights. This ID was of deep significance. TSK, she wants to get public opinion involved? She initially wanted to keep her plan under wraps for a few more days, but now was the perfect opportunity to use it. Chapter 103, Gossip Porter. But 1. Since when did you have such a good relationship with Xia? I heard that he not only spoke up for you in front of the teacher, but he even blocked a slap from Qing Shui for you. Shen Mengqi probed. Before, the incident with Ling Dong had no effect at all on Si Yihan. So with Xia's special treatment towards Yi Wanwan, she wasn't sure whether it would have any impact even if she reported it to Si Yihan. She didn't expect that Si Yihan would become more and more lenient towards Yi Wanwan. Maybe Si Yihan didn't consider any others a threat aside from Gu Yuzhe? Maybe. Shen Mengqi was out of her wits. As East Asia's king of jealousy, even if Yi Wanwan did so much as to pet a dog lightly, Si Han might bring out a dog rod in a fit of jealousy, not to mention what he would do to a man like Ling Dong. That's obviously because Xia's a nice person. Yi Wanwan replied. Shen Mengqi nearly choked. She reminded her, anyway, you better be careful. There are many girls that fancy Xia who will definitely pick on you, especially Qing Shui. 80% of this post was sent by Qing Shui to get back at you. Yi Wanwan sneered in her heart. Shen Mengqi acted like a good person on one hand and on the other, pinned the blame on someone else. She was really cunning. Got it, I'll be careful. I'm going to head back to my dorm now, bye. Shen Mengqi watched as Yi Wanwan left, her face filled with frustration. Before, she was glad that Yi Wanwan wasn't loved by Si Yihan anymore, so she no longer had the right to live in Jean Garden, but now she was worried that since Yi Wanwan was no longer living there, she didn't have any chance to get close to Si Yihan anymore. Si Yihan was probably too busy to answer her calls. She tried asking him out through text before, but like rocks, those messages sunk in the sea. Sometimes, she even felt like she was a robot providing him with updates on Yi Wanwan, since he only responded to news about her. This feels terrible. After settling things with Shen Mengqi, Yi Wanwan left using the back door and entered an internet cafe at the school entrance. She found a single booth and sat down, then she entered Qing He's school forum. As she was about to sign in, she recalled that her original ID was even more disgusting than Shen Mengqi's Love the Winter Nights. It was Love Zhe for 100 decades, thus, Yi Wanwan created a new account with another name, Gossip Porter. After she created the account, Yi Wanwan drafted a post. The title of the post, Flashing News. Qing He's beauty, Shen Mengqi, was actually a mistress that stole her best friend's man. The content was the same as the title, just with the addition of this simple phrase. Yi Wanwan casually posted it after she was done editing it. As expected, this extremely eye-catching title immediately attracted a ton of responses. Cute and handsome guy, damn. Shen Mengqi, isn't she my goddess? She's involved in this? Crayon without Shin-chan. Users who create rumors like that will be blocked. Most handsome, this is definitely fake. I can't believe a simple and kind girl like Shen Mengqi would be defamed by people as well. Love the Winter Nights. I think this person is just jealous. Dazed little cutie, is the person talking about the incident involving Shen Mengqi, Jiang Yanran and Song Zihang? I think I've heard about it. Love the Winter Nights. Where did you hear such nonsensical rumors? Did you see it for yourself? Dazed little cutie. Oh, I didn't. I heard it from someone else. Sprinkling Z to empty some avoided memories. Since there's a person who purposely wants to defame Shen Mengqi, naturally they'd create rumors about her. This kind of rumor can't be trusted. Crayon without Shin-chan. If this person is so sure, show us proof. Why were you hiding behind your computer and rambling on? You think we're a bunch of tools? In your dreams. Chapter 104. The video that spoke the truth after the post went up, Yi Wanwan was lashed at by Shen Mengqi's guardians. Many familiar IDs popped up. Those few netizens who claimed that they saw what happened that evening and were flooded by criticism and were even called rumormongers. There was an unspoken rule in the entertainment circle that the truth wasn't important. Whoever controlled public opinion ran the world, and it was the same in this situation. This was also why Shen Mengqi dared to fabricate lies to prove her innocence. Yi Wanwan wasn't anxious at all as she watched them lash out silently. Sprinkling Z to empty some avoided memories. TSKSK, the thread starter hasn't dared to show their face. Love the winter nights. It was all made up. They just started a rumor to stir up trouble. I've encountered many people like this before. When everybody was almost done lashing out and agreed to treat the post as a rumor, Yi Wanwan posted a clip right as the post was about to fade away. While Shen Mengqi and Jiang Yanran were fighting the night before, she had secretly recorded everything on video. Compared to Shen Mengqi's post based on hearsay, hers had video evidence. In the Qinghe school forum, gossip about her as Qinghe's ugliest girl appeared every day, but it was never resolved as either a truth or lie. Especially since she started sitting with Si Xia, it was discussed almost daily. Everybody was probably tired of her, and this post by Shen Mengqi merely deepened their hatred of her. Anyway, her reputation was as black as charcoal and couldn't possibly be any darker, but Shen Mengqi was different. She was the beauty of Class A, the famous beauty of Qinghe. This goddess, who was in the hearts of many boys, was as pure and perfect like a piece of snow. To think that she actually seduced her best friend's man secretly, this gossip was much more explosive than the daily speculations about this ugly freak whose reputation was already smeared. Revealing this piece of gossip about Shen Mengqi at this time could divert attention away from her. For people unable to clear the air about themselves, it was common practice to use explosive content to divert people's attention in the entertainment industry. After she posted the video, Yi Wanwan ordered some drinks and snacks and waited patiently in her seat. After a few seconds of silence, the post which had been dying down blew up again. Lonely heart. Oh my God. What did I just see? Everyone hurry and look at this juicy gossip. Cute and handsome guy, damn. It's actually real. The goddess was even hurt by the phone Jiang Yanran smashed into her face. I am little cutie 123, what drama? Aren't Shen Mengqi and Jiang Yanran really close? It's surprising to have a third party involved. Most handsome, huh? Is this some kind of misunderstanding? A windy summer, the video clip is out. What kind of misunderstanding is there? Didn't you hear Jiang Yanran saying that she even took the initiative to kiss the guy? She didn't even have the conscience to deny it. Why did she choose to go out alone with her man on Jiang Yanran's birthday, kissing and talking about being together after graduating, using all this intimate language? Dazed little cutie, the video clip speaks the truth. This is so much more exciting than the post next to it. No wonder the thread starter didn't make a sound. She was saving up for her big move. Shen Mengqi can't rebut this time. Yi Wanwan's post went up the ranking of popular posts very quickly due to these netizens and immediately overtook the popularity of the post about herself. The netizens who had been busy fighting in her post then all moved to the post about Shen Mengqi, pleading the thread starter to release more gossip. Chapter 105. A ticking time bomb. After some time, that familiar ID appeared again. Love the winter nights. Did Shen Mengqi actually initiate the kiss or made that promise? All those words were said by Jiang Yanran alone. We don't know whether it's the truth or not, right? Furthermore, even if Shen Mengqi really did it, it's no crime to like someone. Jiang Yanran only had a one-sided crush on Song Zihang and they weren't even a couple, so how could you call Shen Mengqi a third party? Yi Wanwan took a bite of rice and then took her own sweet time to reply. Gossip Porter. TSK, even those people with a small brain would know that whatever Jiang Yanran said was naturally told to her personally by Song Zihang. Whether it's the truth or not, that goes without saying. Also, Jiang Yanran and Song Zihang grew up together and were engaged since they were little. Many people in their circle knew about this. You think with Shen Mengqi and Jiang Yanran's good relationship and Jiang Yanran telling everything to Shen Mengqi that Shen Mengqi wouldn't know about this? Even if she didn't know about this, she would have known that Jiang Yanran liked Song Zihang, and she shouldn't have kept Jiang Yanran in the dark while being intimate with Song Zihang in private. Yes, it's no crime to like someone, but she should have openly declared that she liked him and fought with Jiang Yanran fair and square. I believe nobody would say anything about her then, but what's the point in playing games? Could it be that she was using the same tactics on other people? Love the winter nights. Everything that was said above was completely made up. It's just vicious slander. Request for the moderator to delete it. Gossip Porter. The clip I have speaks the truth. How is it made up? The post before was purely based on hearsay, yet Yi Wanwan still got so much humiliation, but what I posted was made up. Don't you think that's a bit hypocritical? I am little cutie 123. I feel that what the thread starter said makes sense and the conjecture was very reasonable. Dazed little cutie, I support the thread starter. Love the winter nights is a bit weird. She was so enthusiastic when we were talking about Yi Wanwan, and when people said that the poster had no evidence, she attacked them. Yet now, she's speaking up for Shin Mengqi? Anyway, if it was me and my crush fell for my best friend and even confessed his love to her, I would definitely not forgive her if she kept it from me and went out on a secret date with him even after knowing that I liked that guy so much. Isn't truth the most important thing between friends? If she hid this kind of thing, I would never believe that she's not up to anything. Probably because she was guilty, Shin Mengqi's ID didn't appear anymore. She was probably thinking of ways to get someone to remove the post. Although there were still some boys speaking up for Shin Mengqi, the girls were more active since girls are usually more aggressive in forums than boys. Furthermore, girls abhorred these kinds of actions, so the majority of public opinion was on Jiang Yanran's side. This issue didn't beat Shin Mengqi down completely, but merely proving her innocence would keep her busy enough, so she wouldn't keep finding trouble for Yi Wanwan. Scrolling through the post, everyone was talking about Shin Mengqi. While her post slowly sank down, Yi Wanwan then returned to school. After she went back, Yi Wanwan didn't head to the dormitory straight away, but instead, she took a stroll around the little lake. She was unsure whether it was her imagination, but she felt a little uneasy, like something was going to happen. This issue with Si Xia was a ticking time bomb. It was easy to settle things with Ling Dong, but what should she do about Si Xia? Chapter 106. You've never loved me? Yi Wanwan couldn't go to Si Han and ask whether his nephew was trying to tease her, right? Both these relationships were intertwined. Si Han is Si Xia's ninth uncle, and if she rushed to complain hastily, wouldn't that sow discord between them? As Yi Wanwan was thinking about how to solve this problem, she suddenly heard an angry voice nearby. Jiang Yanran, I never thought you would be so scheming. Aside from plotting against Mengqi and hurting her, you actually posted those things on the school's forum to ruin her reputation. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. What a coincidence, Song Zihang. She saw that Song Zihang's face was in a fury and the girl standing in front of him was pale. Both her eyes were red and her body was trembling as she explained emotionally, I've already repeated myself many times, that wasn't posted by me. Even if I did, was there anything wrong in the post? Wasn't she stealing my man? Didn't she betray our friendship? Song Zihang sneered, his eyes filled with disgust. Jiang Yanran, you are impossible to reason with. I don't belong to you, neither do I have anything to do with you. The engagement was just my family's wishful thinking. I am not their puppet. I have someone I like. If it wasn't for you coming between us, I would have been together with Mengqi a long time ago. She suffered so much because she cared about your feelings. But you hurt her this way. You're the third party between us. The way he looked at her was akin to a knife stabbing through the girl's body. Jiang Yanran's expression was blank all of a sudden. She then looked like she was in excruciating pain and smiled bitterly. Ha. Song Ziheng, we've known each other since we were in our mother's wombs. You've said that you would marry me, would protect me and let no one bully me, wanted to be with me forever, but now you tell me that you don't have anything to do with me, that I'm a third party. I'm the third party. The girl's last two words were weeping blood. But the man was distant. That was all in the past when we were young. Don't bring up those childhood jokes to bother me. Jiang Yanran's nails dug into the palms of her hands. Bother you? I remembered them all for over a decade. I recited them for over a decade, looked forward to them for over a decade, yet they were all just me bothering you. Song Ziheng, do you even have a heart? Answer me. After all these years, you've never loved me? Even for a brief moment. At this moment, Song Ziheng's phone beeped. He looked at the message and his eyes became soft, but when he lifted his head and looked at Jiang Yanran, his entire face was filled with annoyance. He replied coldly, Jiang Yanran, I'll be honest with you, no. I've only treated you as a sibling. But now, You've drained the last bit of feelings I had for you. I'll give you an hour to consider deleting that post yourself. If it's not deleted after an hour, don't blame me for being heartless. Song Zihang turned and left immediately. Jiang Yanran's lips trembled and her eyes were red. Her tears seemed to have drained out. She stood there in a daze looking at the man's receding figure like all the anger in her body had been wrung out. After a long time, she walked numbly, step by step, towards the lake robotically. Chapter 107. You were the one who created the post? Yi Wanwan was in hiding and had seen everything up to this point. Not good. Something's up with Jiang Yanran. It isn't that because of my interference, instead of allowing Jiang Yanran to come to her senses, she's considering suicide, right? Yi Wanwan thought that at this point in time, Jiang Yanran didn't have a deep affection for Song Zihang yet and was salvageable if she came to her senses, but it looked like she was wrong. The two of them grew up together. Jiang Yanran's wish ever since she was little was to marry Song Zihang and become his wife. Now that her dream was dashed, it wasn't an exaggeration to say that her whole world had fallen apart. Furthermore, she was betrayed by her most trusted friend at the same time. She had personally suffered from Shin Mengqi's skills after all. Back then, she was also really close with her and would go everywhere with her, played with her, fought together, cried and laughed with her, skipped classes with her, chased Guyuze with her, and even repeated a grade in school with her. Not only did she treat her as her best friend, she even saw her as her future sister-in-law and treated her as family. Who knew that behind her back was a plot to ruin her? The more you care, the more upset you'll be when you find out the truth. Seeing that Jiang Yanran was only half a step away from the lake, Yi Wanwan pinched her nose bridge, quickly walked out of the dark and called out leisurely, "Look who it is? Isn't this our Miss High and Mighty Jiang Yanran? Being here so late at night, don't tell me you're trying to take your own life because you got ditched." Jiang Yanran's back stiffened. Her initial dull and sluggish eyes suddenly glared towards Yi Wanwan fiercely. She gritted her teeth and said, "Yi Wanwan, you're happy seeing me like this now, right? You're pleased, right?" Yi Wanwan smirked and with a snarkish tone, she said, "Of course, if you jumped now that would make me even happier." Why aren't you jumping anymore?" "You," Jiang Yanran's face turned red in anger, "you wish." Jiang Yanran took a step back after saying that. "It's just Song Zihang. Why would I care? With my family background, I can have any man I want. I just hate being lied to." "Oh, not bad, it worked." Yi Wanwan nodded repeatedly. Right, that's right. Big Missy Jiang naturally didn't have to worry about marriage. It's his loss. Seeing that she was as aggressive as a rooster and looked like she could fight with her for 800 rounds, she had probably given up the idea of suicide. Yi Wanwan heaved a sigh of relief and sat down on the grass casually, continuing to scroll through the post. Jiang Yanran couldn't give in to being provoked. She had been prepared to have a big fight with Yi Wanwan but didn't expect that she would play with her phone halfway through the quarrel. She felt like she'd be punching a strawman, causing no damage no matter how hard she punched. After her emotions fluctuated wildly, she felt like all the energy in her body had been drained. She sank to the ground and hugged her knees expressionlessly. "Yi Wan, do you hate me that much? What? Really that intolerable?" Seeing that Yi Wanwan didn't respond and kept focusing on her phone, Jiang Yanran subconsciously looked over. In the end, when she saw that Yi Wanwan was in the midst of replying to the post, her expression changed. In Yi Wanwan's reply box, the ID indicated Gossip Porter. "You're Gossip Porter? You were the one that wrote that post about Shin Mengqi?" Jiang Yanran asked in astonishment. Chapter 108. Let's Team Up. She initially thought that the post was created by Fong Qin or someone else who was there and had witnessed the injustice done to her, but she didn't expect that person to be Yi Wanwan. This post that was speaking up for her, helping her right wrongs, was unexpectedly created by the one she had always seen as an enemy, Yi Wanwan? How could it be? Isn't Shin Mengqi your best friend? Why did you do this? Jiang Yanran asked in a daze. Yi Wanwan raised her brows and looked at her. Scoff best friend? She was also your best friend. But I'm not like you. So stupid that you needed someone to tell you before realizing that you were being fooled. Actually, Yi Wanwan felt quite guilty when she said these words, as she herself had also been stupid for her entire life before her brain started working again. Jiang Yen realized that she didn't understand the girl in front of her at all. Could it be that Yi Wanwan didn't blurt those words out accidentally, but she actually said them in front of everybody on purpose? Could it be that Shin Mengqi also double-crossed Yi Wanwan and she found out, so her attitude took a dramatic turn? The more Jiang Yen thought about it, the more plausible it was. She even remembered how Yi Wanwan had been cast out of their group. It was when Shin Mengqi accidentally revealed that Yi Wanwan had a sugar daddy outside of school, had a chaotic private life, and even contracted a dirty disease. Thinking back, considering Shin Mengqi's character, the credibility of everything she said was questionable. Despite Jiang Yenran's shocked expression, Yi Wanwan knew that she was smart enough to understand most things. Thus, with a devious expression, she said, "Big Missy Jiang, do you want Song Zihang to fall madly in love with you? Do you want to reveal Shin Mengqi's true colors in front of everyone and ruin her reputation? Do you want to let Song Zihang see Shin Mengqi's true colors and regret not choosing you earlier?" Even though Jiang Yenran didn't respond, her eyes got brighter with each sentence that Yi Wanwan spoke. It was obvious that every word resonated with her heart. At the end of her speech, Yi Wanwan winked and said, "Let's team up." Jiang Yenran was stunned for a moment and looked at her hesitantly. "Team up? Why should I believe you? Why should I team up with you?" Yi Wanwan gave it a thought. "Because I'm pretty?" Jiang Yenran's expression darkened. "Because we have a common enemy, is this reason enough?" This time, Yi Wanwan replied seriously. Due to Si Yihan's restrictions, there were many things that she couldn't do. She didn't even dare to leave the school every day, so she definitely needed a partner. Jiang Yenran took a long time to make up her mind, then said, "May I ask why? Why are you going against Shin Mengqi all of a sudden?" Yi Wanwan grinned. "Coincidentally, like you, because she seduced my man." "Your man?" Jiang Yenran was somewhat surprised, probably because she didn't really believe that Yi Wanwan had a man. Or maybe Yi Wanwan was like her and had a secret crush on a guy. All things considered, Jiang Yenran did empathize with her. So, the harsh words Yi Wanwan used to provoke me just now were, in fact, to prevent me from taking things too hard? Although she saw Yi Wanwan differently now, she had also just been lied to, and Jiang Yenran didn't trust others easily, so she said warily, "Don't think just by casually saying a few words that I'll trust you. We're still enemies." Chapter 109. Ninth Master wants to see you. There's a really good saying, "The enemy of your enemy is your friend." You should give it some thought. If you're willing, I guarantee that one day, I can make the Song Zihang, who casts you aside without a second glance, turn into someone whose eyeballs are glued to you non-stop. Of course, if you want me to delete the post, I'm fine with that too. Yi Wanwan then left, confident that her extremely convincing words could entice Jiang Yenran. Jiang Yenran stared blankly at Yi Wanwan's retreating figure. Although she didn't trust Yi Wanwan, she had to admit that the story Yi Wanwan described for her was simply too enticing. What she couldn't take lying down was that Song Zihang actually hadn't loved her at all from beginning to end, and what she hated most were Shin Mengqi's lies and trickery. She wanted Song Zihang to regret his decision. She wanted Shin Mengqi to pay the price. However, she didn't know what to do by herself. If she knew, she wouldn't have landed in this state today. Yi Wanwan, should I trust her? After speaking to Jiang Yenran, Yi Wanwan returned to the dormitory, removed her makeup, put on a facial mask, and took a bath. She laid in bed thinking about how to deal with that guy. Actually, there isn't much difference between Si Xia and Ling Dong, right? Maybe, as long as I express my heartfelt feelings, Si Han won't care so much? Yi Wanwan grabbed her phone while thinking. Just as she was deciding whether to give Si Han a call, her phone suddenly rang, making her jump. When she saw the incoming call display, she was even more shocked. It was Su Yi calling. "Hello, Miss Yi? Housekeeper Su, is something wrong?" Yi Wanwan asked. "Miss Yi, Ninth Master wants to see you." Yi Wanwan's heart skipped a beat. "Where is he?" "Jialan Bar." I'm already at your school gate, see you at the usual spot. Su-yi replied. Yi Wanwan took a deep breath. Got it, I'll leave now. After she hung up, Yi Wanwan didn't dare delay and didn't have time to pack up either. She quickly changed and left. It was like that in her past life as well. No matter where she was, whenever and wherever, if Si-Han wanted to see her, she had to rush over immediately. Actually, whenever Si-Han wanted to see her, nothing much happened usually. Often, after she went over, he'd be busy with his things while she sat around within his line of sight. Sometimes, he'd just take a glance at her and then let her go back. It was simply baffling. Now that she thought about it, each time Si-Han ordered her to come to him, his condition and mood were usually awful. It was only when she appeared in his line of sight that he would be at ease. Si-Han's in a bad mood now? What could be the cause? Linking his mood to what happened that day, Yi Wanwan inexplicably had a bad feeling. Yi Wanwan got in the car with an uneasy feeling. She tried finding out from Su-yi who was driving. Why'd he ask me to come over all of a sudden? Did something happen? Su-yi was stunned by Yi Wanwan at first glance. She didn't have any makeup on and wore a very simple white dress but was so beautiful that he couldn't take his eyes off her. She was truly a genuine beauty with flesh of ice and bones of jade, like a white lotus flower. Su-yi regained his senses very quickly and replied, Sorry Miss Yi, I'm not too sure either. You know what ninth master is like, I'm just following orders. How's his mood today then? Yi Wanwan asked again. It's, Su-yi suddenly went silent. Judging by Su-yi's reaction, Yi Wanwan sighed and resigned to her fate. She already knew the answer. Chapter 110, The Broken Taboo. Half an hour later, in Jialan Bar, at the entrance of the top floor in the box reserved only for designated VIPs, Yi Wanwan paused to take a deep breath and told herself to stay calm no matter what happened. Miss Yi, please come in. Su-yi was about to push the door open when Yi Wanwan stopped him. Wait, don't open the door. Let me assess the situation first. After speaking, Yi Wanwan quietly pushed the door open, left a small gap, and then carefully looked inside. Behind her, Su-yi watched as Yi Wanwan acted all shady and the corners of his mouth twitched uncontrollably. However, as long as she was willing to cooperate, he was already very thankful. Even after she'd done enough mental preparation, she was still frightened by the glimpse of the scene she saw from pushing open the door. There weren't many people in the box. She only recognized Lin Kei and a few people who were probably from Si-Han's circle. At that moment, Si-Han was seated at the corner of the sofa, holding onto a wet tissue. He was leisurely wiping the back of his hand, which showed a visible red patch. His skin was almost torn, but he didn't seem to have the slightest intention of stopping. And his current expression was dark and cold, as if his whole being was engulfed by the dark night without the tiniest bit of light left. A pale girl stood trembling opposite Si-Han, like a criminal who was waiting for her death sentence. The girl looked very beautiful, and with her red and teary eyes, she was even more moving. However, facing such a delicate beauty, Si-Han's face was still as cold as ice. Seeing such a strange situation, Yi Wanwan couldn't help but be stupefied. What's going on here? As her head was filled with confusion, she could see a slightly plump young man with his face bathed in sweat trying to mediate the situation. Ninth Master, this girl didn't do it intentionally. You're a great man, you don't have to stoop to pettiness or hold grudges for past wrongs, huh? Didn't do it intentionally? Si-Han turned his gaze and looked towards the man. That terrible and suffocatingly unbearable glance invaded the entire space. The man was so scared that his heart almost stopped beating. He hurriedly lowered his head to avoid that frightening sight as he turned to Lin Kei for help. Young Master Lin, you see this? Lin Kei also felt that Si-Han was being too sensitive. The girl only touched him a little, yet his reaction was as if he loathed her touch to the point that he was willing to chop off his hands off and deal with the resulting bloodbath. But what else could be done? Si-Han's hatred for women was common knowledge in his circle. It was their fault for breaking the taboo. Lin Kei was frustrated and glared at him. Don't look at me. It's not as if you didn't know my ninth brother's rules. What's the meaning of calling this girl over? You were purposely looking for trouble. Thinking about it made his blood boil. Everything was his fault and Si-Han's mood was already off today. This tactless dummy just had to break Si-Han's taboo and get him involved too. As if the shadow of death loomed over them, the room full of people trembled with fear. Cui Hao was so remorseful that his intestines turned green. On a small scale, it was this woman's fault alone. However, looking at the big picture, the entire Cui family was responsible. Rumor had it that previously, the Wang family was expelled from Imperial City overnight due to an attempt to make their daughter closer to Si-Han. This girl hadn't even gotten close to Si-Han's body. She merely brushed his hand accidentally while passing over the wine, but this man was brutal and inhumane. As if he would reason with you. Chapter 111. A time for reconciliation. Thinking about the fate of the Wang family, Cui Hao finally realized his own fate and he rushed over to Si-Han with a face of imminent death and begged for mercy. Ninth Master. I was wrong. I've learned from my mistake. I shouldn't have violated your taboo. You can do whatever you want with this woman. Do whatever pleases you. He had thought this woman was out of his league, so he couldn't bear to use her himself, offering her as a tribute to Si-Han instead. Who knew that he sealed his own fate? Is Si-Han a man at all? Faced with a woman of such beauty, yet he's completely indifferent to her. Once the girl heard that, her whole face was in disbelief and despair. She hadn't expected that she would be sold out just like that. However, with her status, she couldn't say a word in defense and could only fall to the ground and cry in despair. Just then, on the sofa, the man who was ceaselessly wiping the back of his hand with the disinfectant tissue suddenly turned and looked towards the door. Lin Ke followed Si-Han's gaze and looked over, furrowing his brows. Who's hiding there? Yi Wanwan's spine stiffened. She was so frightened by Si-Han's icy blade-like eyes that she stumbled in immediately. The moment Yi Wanwan entered, the box filled with cries of mercy and tears was silenced in an instant. Cui Hao was in a daze. He kept his mouth wide open and stood stupefied. The girl's expression was also lifeless. All they saw was a girl who entered the box abruptly, who had black hair, wore a white dress and had skin as fair as snow and eyes twinkling like the stars over the autumn streams. Lin Ke saw Yi Wanwan and his expression turned black. Why is this troublemaker here? Ninth Master? I'm here. Having been found out for her peeping, Yi Wanwan rearranged the edge of her dress nervously and walked in Si-Han's direction. Everybody was startled by the sudden appearance of the girl and started speculating non-stop about Yi Wanwan's identity. Doesn't Si-Han detest women? Why did he call a girl over himself? They thought the girl that Cui Hao found was of the highest caliber already, but compared to this girl in front of them, she suddenly became dull in comparison. Seeing the man on the sofa's bloodthirsty gaze, Yi Wanwan sighed deeply. I'm really unlucky. Why did I come when he's fuming mad? She had roughly gained a sense of the current situation. Si-Han hated the touch of this woman, just like a person with OCD. Some patients with OCD wash their hands for an entire day, and Si-Han's condition was similar. A single touch and he would wipe his hand continuously until it was all mangled. When she first found out about Si-Han's problem, she found it very strange. Am I not a woman too? Why is he fine with me? Si-Han looked at the girl standing 3 steps away and his face darkened even more. Seeing that Si-Han's expression was gloomy, Yi Wanwan hurriedly collected her thoughts and sat next to Si-Han quickly and started to pacify him. She lifted her head, looked towards Su-Yi and asked, "Do you have any disinfectant?" "Yes." Su-Yi took out a small bottle of spray from his body and handed it over, then shrank away in a swish. Lin Ke shot a look over at Yi Wanwan, speechless. "Don't bother, it doesn't work. He just sprayed an entire bottle on himself a second ago." Yi Wanwan ignored Lin Ke and held Si-Han's hand. Everybody saw that Yi Wanwan actually touched Si-Han's hand and was seized with terror, almost pissing on themselves. However, in the next second, everyone was shocked to find that Si-Han didn't seem to have any reaction and actually allowed himself to be held obediently. Yi Wanwan didn't care about the looks from everybody. She focused on spraying the disinfectant on the back of Si-Han's hand. Then she used a tissue to wipe it clean, drew her rosy lips close to it and lightly blew at the red and swollen area. Finally, she kissed it as if she was coaxing a child. "Better?" The gentle breeze on the back of his hand and her warm and soft touch inexplicably made Si-Han's mania calm down suddenly. After a moment of silence, Si-Han nodded. Lin Kei spat a mouthful of wine out. Damn. My eyes. Cui Hao. Damn it. That actually worked. Chapter 112. Stuff. This girl simply coaxed him a little, and Si-Han actually stopped wiping his hand. Even his frightful countenance had returned to normal, and there seemed to be some warmth in his eyes. Compared to this girl in front, the girl from before was complete garbage. Cui Hao couldn't help but probe Lin Kei further. Young Master Lin, where did this sacred being come from? She's just the ugly freak. Lin Kei rubbed his chin and grumbled while he looked towards Yi Wanwan with a mind filled with doubt and suspicion. When did this arsonist, Yi Wanwan, become a firefighter? Cui Hao, huh? Ugly freak? Was Lin Kei blind? Seeing Cui Hao in a daze, Lin Kei reminded him gruffly, what huh? You're lucky you were saved. Hurry up and get your woman to leave. I was scared half to death. If it wasn't for Yi Wanwan coming over tonight, I wouldn't have been able to settle this incident. Cui Hao nodded continuously. While Si-Han was still in a good mood, he quickly signaled to the girl on the ground. The girl got up quickly and rushed to Si-Han to apologize in a jitter. Ninth Master, I'm so sorry. Get out. Si-Han looked annoyed. The girl initially thought she was dead meat. She didn't expect there to be a solution allowing her to be let off. She couldn't believe it and was stunned for a moment before bowing non-stop. Yes. Thank you, Ninth Master, for your generosity. Before she left, the girl took a glance at the girl next to Si-Han out of curiosity. Turns out that Si-Han doesn't hate women, he's just disinterested in other women. Since Si-Han suddenly became so easygoing, Cui Hao wept in joy. Ninth Master, I'm really sorry about today. I'll punish myself with 3 glasses. Punish myself with 3 glasses. He was itching to slap himself in punishment. He thought that the girl he'd found was already of the highest quality, but who knew that Ninth Master already had a woman of such unrivaled beauty by his side. No wonder he was disinterested in all the other prey in the wild. At this moment, everybody in the box had the same thinking as Cui Hao, as they sized up the girl next to Si-Han. Yi Wanwan didn't look at any of them. She sat close to Si-Han without looking around, and her little hand grabbed some peanuts from the table from time to time. Si-Han naturally noticed these unpleasant looks. However, seeing that Yi Wanwan was sitting next to him obediently and cracking peanuts like a happy little squirrel with her face filled with happiness, his expression turned warm again. Yi Wanwan buried her head and skillfully cracked a small bunch of peanuts, but instead of eating them, she placed all of them in front of Si-Han and indicated for him to partake. Since Si-Han hadn't had anything that whole night aside from drinks, he finished every single peanut on the girl's hand. Probably because of a guilty conscience, Yi Wanwan used every ounce of energy to please Si-Han. After feeding him peanuts, she fed him pistachios, and after the pistachios, she fed him some fruits. Her only wish was for the situation to improve. As for Si-Han, he had already stopped drinking and ate whatever the girl fed him. Basically, all the other innocent people in the box were also stuffed already. Lin Singledog K's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. He felt that all of them were no longer light bulbs. They were simply like the sun and moon shining bottomless rays of light. Damn it, it was agreed that nobody was allowed to bring a girl. Yet you called for a girl over yourself and tortured everybody like that? Chapter 113. Sucking up to the right person. Ninth Master, this is? Someone tried to ask him. Si-Han hated when people probed about his personal affairs. That person instantly regretted asking but didn't expect him to actually reply with a word girlfriend. Hearing that one word, everybody in the box was shocked. Girlfriend? This is no ordinary girl. They had all thought she was just an ordinary person, but in the end, she actually was special to him? The corners of Lin Kei's mouth twitched as he glanced at Si-Han. Could it be that this guy asked Yi Wanwan over to let her take an oath of sovereignty? Cui Hao wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and quickly tried to curry favor with the Ninth Master. Aya, no wonder ninth master rarely gets close to women. He already has such a beautiful girlfriend hidden at home. May I know your name, please? Hello everybody, my surname is Yi. Yi Wanwan gave them a simple greeting. Yi? Everybody mentally sifted through all the noble families with the surname Yi in Imperial City instantly. In the end, they still couldn't figure out exactly which Yi family it was. There seemed to be only one slightly prominent Yi family in Imperial City, but that family's status was far below everybody in the circle. Furthermore, that family's daughter was already engaged to the Gu family. Everyone just left it at that and didn't dare to probe further. They continued drinking and chatting to liven things up. Things were very straightforward from that point onwards. The project that Cui Hao spent half a year working hard on but hadn't managed to close with Si Han finally reached a conclusion that night. Finally, when they clinked glasses, Cui Hao was teary-eyed as he looked at Yi Wanwan gratefully, as if she was the goddess of mercy saving people in distress. He initially thought that he was dead meat. Who knew that not only was the crisis defused, he also managed to succeed in closing this important deal. Just like in ancient times when powerful ministers liked presenting women to the emperor's harem, there were all these people who presented women to Si Han, and he was no different. But seeing Si Han shun the concubine today and the way he spoiled that girl, he realized they didn't stand a chance anymore. If the others were careless, they would end up in the same situation as him just now. However, it was possible to strike somewhere else. Before leaving, Cui Hao took out a golden card from his chest enthusiastically and gave it to Yi Wanwan. He said with a big smile on his face, "Miss Yi, it's my first time meeting you. This is a humble little token from my heart." Yi Wanwan scanned the card with the corners of her eyes, and her eyes glistened instantly. It was the gold card from one of the biggest luxury shopping malls in Imperial City, Parkson Plaza. With just this card, you could enjoy top VIP services and luxury goods at extremely discounted prices. Usually, aside from the internal top management, holders of the card had to spend at least 10 million. For those truly wealthy people, buying a piece of jewelry would probably be enough to reach that amount. But for ordinary people and even to the average wealthy family, they could never afford to spend that much money at a mall. This man is just simply giving me a Parkson gold card like that? Cui Hao. Damn. She suddenly recalled that this person might just be the young master of the Parkson Corporation. Realizing this, Yi Wanwan didn't accept it and glanced at Si Han. Si Han looked at Cui Hao plainly and didn't seem troubled by his actions. Accept it? Seeing that Si Han consented, Yi Wanwan then accepted it. Thank you. Cui Hao heaved a sigh of relief. Don't mention it, don't mention it. I couldn't think of anything to give you. You girls love shopping, so I thought you might like this. He could tell that this woman's influence over Si Han wasn't to be underestimated, so he'd better build a good relationship with her. After Si Han's car left, Lin Kei turned to Cui Hao, who was next to him. Good thinking. Cui Hao forced a laugh. As the saying goes, those who adjust their actions to the circumstances are wise. But young Master Lin, where did this woman come from? Can't you tell us a little? Lin Kei lit a cigarette. I can't tell you where she came from, but I can tell you, what? You've sucked up to the right person. Chapter 114. My feelings for you. The car moved steadily through the night, and soon after, they arrived at the school gate. After the car stopped, Si Han suddenly said to her, "Don't believe anything Si Xia says." Yi Wanwan heard that and was slightly stunned. She tried probing further casually. Huh? Si Xia? Was it because you guys had some conflicts in the past and you're afraid that he'll do something to me? Si Han's tone was exceptionally cold. You just have to act accordingly. Oh, got it? Yi Wanwan nodded. In a single moment, the atmosphere became somewhat stagnant. After sitting in silence for some time, she stared at the man in front of her seriously and spoke, enunciating each word carefully. Si Han, since I've promised to start all over again with you properly, I'll never break my promise and I'll listen to you. But before that, you need to give me the same level of trust. Yi Wanwan paused for a moment before continuing, otherwise, I won't eliminate the possibility of giving up halfway. Are you threatening me? The man said in a low voice akin to a venomous snake entangled around her throat. The car had become more chilly as well. She felt the arm around her waist tense up. Yi Wanwan took a deep breath to calm herself down. I admit, I'm very afraid of you and I don't have any power to fight with you. My freedom, my dignity, my body, whatever it is, you can have it all, but there are some things that I need control of my heart and my life. Yi Wanwan suddenly moved and kissed the man's lips, which were pressed together tightly. Of course, at the moment, I seem to have fallen for you more. The moment Yi Wanwan's words left her mouth, a trace of astonishment flashed across the man's eyes, while the iciness in the car seemed to slowly crack and dissipate into the air. What did you just say? Yi Wanwan tilted her head. I won't eliminate the possibility of giving up halfway. Si Han stared at her with his dark gaze and replied coldly, not this sentence. Yi Wanwan thought about it. I'm very afraid of you? Si Han narrowed his eyes. Yi Wanwan. Seeing the man's exasperation, Yi Wanwan couldn't help but laugh and repeated slowly, I said, I seem to like you more and more. Si Han stared at her and was still unsatisfied. Remove the extra word. All right, I've started to like you more and more. Yi Wanwan tactfully removed the word seem. Like. The man looked deeply into her eyes. What kind? What kind of like? Yi Wanwan blinked. Oh, it's the kind of like where I want to sleep with you. In the next moment, the man's pupils suddenly contracted like he had just sunken into some kind of painful memory. Before Yi Wanwan could comprehend the meaning behind his gaze, he lowered his body the next second and kissed her lips forcefully, squeezing out every inch of her gentleness and breath, and was much more intense than any other time before. Yi Wanwan let him kiss her obediently while she heaved a deep sigh of relief inside her. On the surface, she seemed to be smiling and calm, but in fact, she was so nervous that her heart was about to jump out of her chest. She actually dared to threaten Si. Although she knew that this was too dangerous and courted death, there were some things, some issues with principles, that she had to let him know clearly. Otherwise, she would only keep retreating without the power to change her situation. Luckily things went well and she managed to pacify the great devil. But she didn't expect a low-level trick like hitting him with a rod and then feeding him a sweet jujube would work on this great devil. What a mysterious great devil. A long while later, the man finally ended his kiss and whispered in her ear, don't ever think of leaving me. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what I'll do. Chapter 115. Flashback. Yi Wanwan was dizzy as her brain lacked oxygen and she was left in a trance. Even after living 2 lives, she still couldn't figure out what kind of feelings this guy had for her. In her previous life, her death was simply too sudden. She remembered that at that time, after a big fight, Si Han finally agreed to the divorce. She took the divorce certificate and the first thing she did was look for Gu Yuze. With Shen Mengqi misleading her intentionally, she had always thought that she stood a chance from the start. She thought that Gu Yuze still loved her and wanted to save her, but he couldn't do anything as he was suppressed by Si Han's power. After she had completed the divorce procedures, Si Han actually allowed her to leave. And not just that, he even drove her to Gu Yuze personally. However, as she went to find him with a heart full of hope at the apartment which her father bought for her, initially intended for her and Gu Yuze's honeymoon, she saw Gu Yuze and Yi rolling on the bed naked. She stood by the door in a daze and saw everything through the gap in the door. Her pain was deepened after she learned the heart-wrenching truth from Gu Yuze and Yi's dialogue. Her father's loss of power from beginning to end was conspired by Yi and her second uncle. Even Gu Yuze took part in it. He was already secretly together with Yi while he was still dating Yi Wanwan. Her stupidity was the true culprit that harmed her whole family. She pushed the door open and stormed in to yell at that adulterous pair like a madwoman. Finally, what she got were Gu Yuze's disgust and Yi's arrogant contempt and ridicule. Each and every word pricked her bleeding heart. Yi Wanwan, why don't you look in the mirror? Just look at yourself. Gu Yuze isn't blind. What crazy man would like you? Did you know how disgusted Yuze was when you clung to him with your fat body? Now, you look like neither human nor ghost. Where did you get the confidence to think that Yuze would fall for a repulsive and idiotic person like you? Plot against you. So what if I did? You can only blame yourself for being so stupid. Anyway, This was all because you shamelessly used your dad's power and status to force Yuze into marrying you first. 1. Sorry, I've only had feelings for E all along. She wasn't sure how she managed to leave that place. She was in so much pain that she lost her senses as she went to find Shin Meng-chi to pour her heart out to her as usual. What she didn't expect to find was Si Han at the door of Shin Meng-chi's villa. And Shin Meng-chi was actually confessing her love to Si Han. She heard Shin Meng-chi saying, "Mr. Si, I like you. I fell for you the first time I met you. I really don't understand why Wan doesn't know how to treasure such a good man like yourself. If it was me, I'd definitely give my all to you." She just divorced Si Han, and this best friend of hers who had always been standing by her side and complained about Si Han with her, actually turned her back and confessed to her ex-husband. She was completely stunned then and didn't hear what Si Han said. She only remembered that Si Han's expression remained cold. He probably rejected her, and Shin Meng-chi's bashful face turned pale in an instant. After Si Han left, she finally regained her senses and frantically ran to confront Shin Meng-chi to ask her why she did this. Chapter 116. A day of jubilation for everybody, and probably because she just got rejected, Shin Meng-chi took her anger out on her. She said in an extremely malicious tone with a face full of contempt as she stared at her and told her everything she had done. She told her how she played her like a fool all these years, gloating about how she sent her elder brother packing after she'd used him and formed an alliance with her greatest nemesis, he. She cursed her to death viciously and snarled that she wasn't good enough for Si Han. She fought and struggled for so many years, resisted for so many years, all for a greedy and cruel playboy. Her best friend, whom she treated like her real younger sister, had harmed her from the beginning, shooting for her husband and hoping for her to die. Everybody whom she loved and trusted was all gone within a day, and her world fell apart. She couldn't remember anything that happened after that as her mental state was in a terrible condition. She didn't even know who caused her death. The only thing that she could recall was that in the dark, her whole body was in pain like her soul was being burnt. After all, there were many people who wanted her dead in this world. Shin Meng-chi, Qin Ruoshi, especially Qin Ruoshi. After all, she snatched the position of Mrs. C away from her. With Qin Ruoshi's family background, she just had to play some tricks to make Yi Wan into the enemy of the C family. From the esteemed old madam of the C family down to the senior clan members, there wasn't a single person who didn't want to vacate the stain by Si Han's side. She naturally suspected that Si Han was at fault. Could it be that he was still upset about letting me go, and since he couldn't have me, he thought he might as well get rid of me? This thought sent a chill to the bottom of her heart. After all, with Si Han's personality in her previous life, it was really surprising for him to allow her to leave so easily. It was very hard for her to believe that he'd truly let her go. However, on the other hand, she should thank Si Han. If it hadn't been for him, she would never have learnt the truth and seen the true colors of all the people surrounding her. She wasn't sure what kind of accident happened later, but she hadn't recovered from all the shock or begun plotting for revenge when she inexplicably died of an unnatural death. "What are you thinking about?" The man's low warning rang in her ears. That moment just now and the expression on the girl's face made him feel uncomfortable. She was obviously by his side, but it seemed like she could vanish any time. For the first time, he realized that he couldn't see through her. He couldn't stand the feeling of being out of control. Yi Wan looked at his unhappy face and said innocently, "Of course I was thinking about you. Damn, I'm not even allowed to be distracted in front of him. Do you want to empty my brain, enter it, and sit on the throne? Must you be so overbearing?" Although the girl's tone was undeniably fake, his face still eased up. "Head back quickly and don't wander about. Got it? I haven't missed a single class recently, all right? I haven't been late and never left early either." Yi Wan unbuckled her seatbelt, bid him farewell as usual, and got off the car. "Good night." The split second before Yi Wan got off, she noticed that the rack at the front of the car seat contained a pile of home tutoring materials. Seeing this, Yi Wan's heart skipped a beat. Is he getting me home tutoring materials to stop me from going to school? If she hadn't fought and stood up for herself just now, Did that mean she would have been grounded in Jean Garden tonight? So close. A long time after Yi Wanwan left, Su-yi was still dazed in the driver's seat, unable to regain his senses. When he witnessed Yi Wanwan threatening Ninth Master, he was so afraid that his soul nearly vanished. In the end, Yi Wanwan beat Ninth Master with a rod, then fed him a sweet date. She was completely fine even after scratching the tiger's whiskers and even stuffed his whole stomach with dog kibbles. Furthermore, didn't Ninth Master intend to stop Yi Wanwan from attending school anymore? He had braced himself for a world war, but nothing happened in the end. Su-yi. After a moment of silence, Si Han suddenly spoke without warning. Ninth Master, what can I do for you? It's all over, he's still going to flip out. Su-yi's nerves were extremely tensed. Si Han's gaze followed the little figure in the night as he spoke calmly. Your salary this month will be doubled, along with all the servants in Jean Garden. Su-yi was speechless. May I know? What happened? This good fortune has come too abruptly. Su-yi was dumbstruck for at least 3 minutes before regaining his senses. Could it be because Yi Wanwan just said that Sheich liked him more and more? So, should we all celebrate? Chapter 117, I'll work with you. By the small lake in school, Jiang Yanran sat there for almost 2 whole hours. All the while, Song Zihang called her to negotiate several times with threats and warnings. When she thought about Song Zihang's disappointment and disgust towards her, she felt as if her heart was pierced by a knife. But making her delete the post, how could she swallow this down? Just as she was thinking, she scrolled through her phone casually and saw that there was a new reply under that post. Her pupils contracted in an instant. I seek for her 1,000 times in my dreams. This familiar ID obviously belonged to Song Zihang. I seek for her 1,000 times in my dreams. Everybody, I'm Song Zihang. Firstly, I have nothing to do with Jiang Yanran. The engagement was just a joke between our families. Secondly, Shen Mengqi didn't kiss me voluntarily. It was me who was unable to hold back from kissing a beauty like her. Mengqi also didn't mention us being together after graduating. She only said that she wanted to study hard now. Thirdly, I've only liked one person from the beginning, Shen Mengqi. Come at me if you have anything to say. Don't hurt innocent people. Song Zihang. You're good. Reading each and every word of defense, Jiang Yanran bit down hard on her lips as the taste of blood filled her mouth. And the replies following that post were gashed at her heart like knives. Oh. The original proprietor has appeared. I suddenly find Captain Song very dashing. Am I the only person who pities Jiang Yanran? She knew Song Zihang first, right? In the end, she was wrenched to the corner just like that. Furthermore, Song Zihang's words might not be completely true. But there is no way around this. In relationships, there have to be 2 people in love with each other. He already said that he never liked her and it was just wishful thinking on her part. Blame it on her inability to get him. What has that got to do with Shen Mengqi? Song Zihang's choice was also indisputable, right? If it was me, I would choose the class beauty as well. Haha. Although with regards to what Song Zihang said, there were still some people who were suspicious and felt that maybe he said those things on purpose to defend Shen Mengqi. But Song Zihang's reply still managed to change the course of the discussion and even boosted the popularity of Shen Mengqi in Qinghe. At the same time, Yi Wanwan returned to her dorm. She wasn't sure why, but she felt that the sentence she said by chance tonight, the kind of like where I want to sleep with you, sounded strangely familiar, like she'd said this phrase to someone at some point in the past, but that person definitely wasn't Gu Yuze. After all, she remembered every single thing she ever said to Gu Yuze clearly. I said something like that to someone and forgot who he was. How could I do something so degrading? Yi Wanwan cleared the rubbish thoughts in her mind and was just about to go to bed when her phone suddenly rang. The display showed Jiang Yanran's name. Yi Wanwan raised her brows and answered, "Hello?" The moment the call was connected, Jiang Yanran's emotional voice came through the receiver immediately. Yi Wanwan, you're not allowed to delete that post. I agree to work with you in any way you'd like. I just want Song Zihang to be regretful. I want Shen Mengqi to pay the price. What a sudden change in attitude. It seemed like Shin Mengqi had already sorted things out with Song Zihang and got him to prove her innocence personally. No problem, Yi Wanwan replied. Tell me what I should do right now. Don't rush, my big missy. You can come over to my room first and we can take our time discussing it. Yi Wanwan just finished speaking before realizing that her words sounded weird, like they went wrong somewhere. Like a classic line in the unspoken rule of the entertainment circle. All right, I'll be there right away. Jiang Yanran naturally didn't know that Yi Wanwan, who knew women very well, was already driving in her heart. She agreed without a second thought. Chapter 118. Call off the engagement. After hanging up, Yi Wanwan opened the post to take a look. Just as she'd predicted, Song Zihang came to the rescue of his princess. Shen Mengqi was saved and Jiang Yanran became the laughingstock of the school. Now the whole school knew that she was unsuccessful with her secret crush and even fought her best friend out of jealousy. Tiseisuke, he really dared to speak up for his sweetheart and even pushed away the engagement that both families had established. The knock on the door quickly came. Coming. Yi Wanwan stood up and walked over to open the door. Yi, after seeing clearly the person who opened the door for her, Jiang Yanran was speechless. Come on in. Listening to the familiar voice of the girl standing there, Jiang Yanran was in total disbelief. You're Yi Wanwan? She remembered that Yi Wanwan lived alone and that there was nobody else in this dorm. But the girl in front of her was prettier than the school beauty, Qing Shui. How could she be that ugly freak Yi Wanwan? It was said that before Yi Wanwan started applying makeup, she was fat and ugly. After she slimmed down, she was just ugly. Everybody, including herself, thought that Yi Wanwan applied such heavy makeup to hide her ugly looks due to some inferiority complex. Without it, she would have given up on herself. Qinghe was Imperial City's most aristocratic school. It had rigorous teaching methods, but it was considered open. Like international schools, they promote individualism and diversity and didn't restrict students' style of dress or makeup, but everyone put in a lot of effort to reflect well on their families' backgrounds. Yi Wanwan was the only one who embarrassed herself like that. Yi Wanwan led Jiang Yanran through the door and poured her a cup of water. Sit anywhere you like. Since they were already in the same league and Jiang Yanran was a girl, she didn't bother applying her makeup all over again. Are you really Yi Wanwan? Jiang Yanran still felt like she was dreaming. Do you need me to return to my usual self to prove my identity? Yi Wanwan picked the green wig up. No. No need, Jiang Yanran waved hurriedly. But why do you make yourself look that way every day? Yi Wanwan lifted her brows. What's wrong with how I look every day? Don't I look good? Regarding Yi Wanwan's aesthetic taste, Jiang Yanran was speechless. It was Yi Wanwan's right to choose to dress any way she liked. Jiang Yanran was simply shocked that Yi Wanwan looked so beautiful without her makeup, but it wasn't her business. After glancing at Yi Wanwan several times, unable to restrain herself, she got down to business and asked, You really have a plan? Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin and didn't keep her guessing. She replied directly, If you trust me, then the first thing you need to do is get your parents to call off the engagement with the Song family immediately. Also, it had to be as soon as possible. She remembered that around this time in her previous life, the Jiang family almost emptied their pockets to support the Song family and helped the Song family successfully clinch a big project with the government. This helped the Song family to rise from a small company to a company that was on par with the Jiang family, like a carp leaping into the dragon's gate. From there, the Song family's company surpassed the Jiang family year after year. Jiang Yanran's face turned pale instantly. What? Call off the engagement. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. Don't tell me you still haven't given up on him yet and want to marry him? How could that be? I only want him to be remorseful now. Jiang Yanran's expression was slightly confused, but, Yi Wanwan, it's not as simple as you think. Both our family's companies have many business dealings and projects together, and if I suddenly ask my parents to call off the engagement, this would affect us greatly. We have to give this some more thought. Chapter 119. Take swift action. Yi Wanwan smiled and replied, how about you give this some more thought? I saw the news recently and heard that the Song family is trying to fight for a big project with the government. Your family has injected $1 billion into it, investing so much money within a short time. I'm afraid you guys risk your funds not turning over quickly enough and emptying the company's capital, right? Your parents helped the Song family only because they want you to have a good life in the future. Now that you've seen that boy's true colors, you should take swift action. Do you want him to make all the gains and then use all the flesh and blood he gnawed off you to take care of Shin Mengqi? In her previous life, as one of the men supporting Shin Mengqi, Song Zihang continuously developed and expanded the company with the help of his in-laws. But he took out large sums of money in secret to pave the way for Shin Mengqi and even invested in the entertainment business. If she waited till the Song family clinched this big project before calling off the engagement, it would be too late. Jiang Yanran bit her lips when she heard that and stopped hesitating. I'll call my parents now. It's just that my parents were really fond of Song Zihang and calling off the engagement is quite a big issue. Even if I asked for it, they would just assume I was throwing a tantrum and wouldn't take me seriously. Furthermore, both families have such a big collaboration together. Yi Wanwan extended her hand out. Pass me the phone and I'll make the call for you. Yi Wanwan recalled the news she saw on the television in her previous life. After Jiang Yanran took her own life, her parents cried and fainted directly in the morning hall. Mrs. Jiang passed away not long after due to grief. It was obvious that even though her parents were strict with their only daughter, Jiang Yanran, they loved her deeply too. Although breaking off the engagement might cause a lot of trouble, she felt that Jiang Yanran's parents would definitely stand on their daughter's side. You're making the call for me? Jiang Yanran asked hesitantly. Actually, up till now, she still felt that she was just desperately grasping at straws and didn't trust Yi Wanwan completely. But looking at this girl's eyes gave her an unconscious desire to believe her. Alas, Jiang Yanran agreed. Yi Wanwan dialed Jiang Yanran's mother's number using Jiang Yanran's phone. Hello, Yanran. Why are you calling mommy at this hour? Do you need more money? Hearing her mom's voice over the phone, Jiang Yanran's nose twitched. On the contrary, Yi Wanwan's tone was full of terror and she exclaimed anxiously, Auntie. I'm not Yanran, I'm her classmate. Hurry and come down to the school. Chapter 120, Recruiting Talent. Why are you looking at me? Yi Wanwan blinked. Jiang Yanran coughed lightly and tilted her head. I just feel that you've changed drastically. Yi Wanwan laughed. Changed? Did you know the real me to begin with? Jiang Yanran thought about it. She wasn't close to this girl when they were roommates and misunderstood her even after she moved out from their dorm. She truly didn't know what her real self was like. Sorry about what happened in the past. I was wrong about you, Jiang Yanran said, slightly abashed. Why are you still helping me after how I treated you? I've said it before, it's teamwork. I need your help at times too. With Yi Wanwan's honest and direct attitude, Jiang Yanran was quite pleased and immediately said, Let me know what you need help with and I'll help as long as it's within my limits. There's no need at the moment, but in future, there will be one thing. Yi Wanwan stared at Jiang Yanran with a gaze akin to a fox looking at meat. Jiang Yanran was uncomfortable with the way Yi Wanwan stared at her. In the future? What is it? Yi Wanwan's eyes glistened as she looked at her. If you enter the entertainment field in future, please consider letting me be your manager. If she wanted to take down Yi in this life, there was no way she could enter the entertainment field herself. After all, there was Si Han, the jealous lover. Amongst all the back-end jobs, being a manager suited her best. In contrast to being an actress, being a manager allowed her to broaden her network of powerful people and it would benefit her when she started her own firm later. Right now, what was most important was entering Imperial City's media PR profession and strengthening her professional knowledge. Although she was unable to recruit talent aggressively right now, if she managed to gather some potential artists, that would still be something. And Jiang Yanran was a ready-made strong warrior. Hearing what Yi Wanwan said, Jiang Yanran was somewhat surprised. Because of my parents, I do in fact plan to enter the entertainment industry in the future. But with my looks, I'm more suited for back-end jobs, right? But you, without your makeup, you look really beautiful. Why don't you just debut instead of being a manager? Yi Wanwan scanned Jiang Yanran from head to toe and said, clicking her tongue, My dear, I'd say that you've underestimated yourself. Believe me, with your looks, you could beat Shen Mengqi in seconds. It's just that you don't know how to show off your looks, but don't be nervous, I'll help you with a makeover next time. Jiang Yanran probably kept her long black hair straight and wore a long skirt every day to please Song Zihang. With this style of dressing, she thinks that she'd look just like Shen Mengqi and become the goddess of many boys' hearts. However, Jiang Yanran obviously didn't suit her current style. Not only was she unattractive, she looked more like a nun. In her previous life, after she entered the entertainment industry, Jiang Yanran had always taken compelling routes, often acting in suffering and ugly roles. But she remembered clearly that in her previous life, during one of the prize presentation ceremonies, Jiang Yanran went up on stage in a sexy red gown to receive the Best Lead Actress award, and that night, she beat all the female actresses within seconds. However, Jiang Yanran was dressed that way only once, and after that, she was never seen in that style again in the entertainment news. Probably because she was yet again brainwashed by Shen Mengqi. Jiang Yanran recalled Yi Wanwan's usual monstrous makeup and aesthetic tastes, obviously not convinced by her words. Yi Wanwan knew that she didn't believe her now, but she didn't mind at all. She took out an outfit from her wardrobe and gave it to her. Go change into my pajamas, then lie in my bed. Your parents should be here soon. Thank you, Jiang Yanran nodded. Chapter 121. Complaints. Jiang Yanran's parents arrived shortly after. Hearing the knock on the door, Yi Wanwan braced herself and then immediately went over to open the door. Where's Yanran? Where's our Yanran? Where's my daughter? Mr. and Mrs. Jiang were so anxious that they were sweating buckets. Uncle, Auntie, you're finally here. Yanran's lying in bed. Hurry and take a look at her. Yi Wanwan said quickly. Both of them immediately rushed to the bed, and after seeing their daughter lying there, their hearts broke instantly. Jiang Yanran looked quite haggard. Her face was so pale without a trace of color, and her eyes were also completely red and swollen. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang probably wouldn't have any suspicions at all. Yanran, why were you so silly? What exactly happened? Yanran, hurry and tell Daddy, did somebody in school bully you? Jiang Yanran looked at her anxious parents in shock. After seeing her family, she couldn't hold back the feelings that she'd been suppressing any longer and sunk into her mother's embrace as she cried in pain, Daddy? Mommy, I feel so awful. So awful. Mrs. Jiang's heart broke with her daughter's cries. Darling girl. Oh, my darling girl. Are you trying to get Mommy and Daddy worried sick? What happened exactly? Yi Wanwan stood at the side, tears streaming down her face as well. Uncle, Auntie, you must speak up for Yanran. Yanran was bullied so badly in school. Mr. Jiang's face filled with rage instantly. Who dares to bully my daughter? Yi Wanwan replied, It's Song Zihang and Shen Mengqi. Daddy Jiang's expression changed. Zihang and Shen Mengqi? How could that be? Zihang would never bully Yanran, and isn't Mengqi Yanran's best friend? Yi Wanwan hurriedly explained, That's not true at all. Song Zihang has never liked Yanran and even got together with Yanran's best friend, Shen Mengqi, in secret. As Yanran's best friend, Shen Mengqi not only kept this from Yanran, but she even hooked up with Song Zihang after finding out that Yanran and Song Zihang were engaged. Mr. Jiang said sternly, That's impossible. I know that kid's character very well. Zihang is true to our Yanran. Mrs. Jiang chipped in as well. Yes, we see it for ourselves every day. Yi Wanwan sneered in her heart. This Song Zihang was quite talented at leaving a good impression. No wonder Jiang Yanran was worried that her parents wouldn't believe her. Yi Wanwan continued with her complaints. Uncle, Auntie, you guys were fooled. Song Zihang was just acting in front of you from the start. Whenever the elders of both families weren't together, he treated Yanran coldly and even told Yanran that he liked someone else. But Yanran was too silly and loved him too much. She didn't care about any of this and would be over the moon when Song Zihang simply smiled at her. She thought that maybe she'd be able to change him someday. As a girl, in order to please him, Ran woke up early in the morning during the winter to travel over 10 miles in the dark to buy him his favorite breakfast. In the summer, she'd run over to the basketball court to cheer for him every day under the scorching sun. She's a princess and has led a pampered life at home, but in order to please him, she was the servant for the entire basketball team. She'd get snacks and water for all of them silently and even wash those sweaty and smelly jerseys. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.